normal kind of things. If you see some of my other videos, it's about endurance. This is no different, except in this, we're gonna be writing. And the topic and all that, that's great. We'll cover that stuff as we go. But the biggest thing that I want to stress right now is anybody who's an athlete and I mean athlete meaning you are the type of person that is pushing yourself to do better over and over and over every day. You're coming up, you're showing up, no matter how you feel. And you know, I'm not talking about perfection. I'm talking about you're striving towards excellence. This is for you. So this can help you get out the ideas, because a lot of times we have a lot of ideas in our head, and this is going to be how to get those things out. Now, my strategy for writing right now is going to be I have several books, several notebooks here. So we're going to start with these. I'm going to put these right here just so you can see that we got, that's 5 alone. And then we got another 6th book here, I think. And then we got a 7th book. These are all my notebooks. So these are all my notebooks that I just write. I have courses that I've taken notes on. I have a lot of personal writings of my own. So the method that I want to start with here is grab any notes, even on your phone, on your laptop, that you take throughout the day or throughout the year, and use those to help you in this writing process. I'm going to be using these notes in my writing process. I'm not going to be using any other outside source for writing this book right now. It's going to be solely from notes and from memory. Now, the topic and the title, that's going to come. We're going to go over that in just a bit. And then we're going to break down the chapters. So if you're interested in writing your book, you can follow along. It doesn't hurt at all to follow along. Get out a little Scrabble piece of paper that you can scribble on, and start writing your ideas for your title. Hey, what's going on? What's going on, Laura? Yeah, so we're writing a book right now. So I got my whiteboard here for those that are just joining. We have notebooks. We don't have a I have my laptop, but I'm not using my laptop. You don't need your laptop. You need just to sit down for a moment, focus, and I know I'm doing this live because this is for my records for my daughters, so that they can see how their dad did this type of stuff. I've written a book before, and I'm gonna do it again right now. So let's get started. All right, so whenever you're talking about your title, it needs to be something that's near and dear to you. You know, it's going to be near and dear to you, something that you have, especially whenever you're not pulling from a bunch of resources. Say, online, we have Google, ChatGPT, that's all great. I'm not knocking any of that stuff, but whenever you're doing it like this, you're going to have to pull from your main resources, which is, like I said, your notes, your notebooks, and your memory on past events of whatever subject it is that you're trying to write about. So, I'll use my whiteboard here. So I'm going to be writing about, let's say, this is just a rough draft title. So let's say tireless effort of an athlete. Okay, so tireless effort of an athlete. That's not the best title, right? I know. But we're gonna get there. The thing is, don't worry about perfection. And this is gonna be all where we all get bogged down by this stuff right here. Whenever we worry about how much this is perfect right now, you need to get out the idea, and then you can make this all sound a lot better. Then you're going to go down, you're going to be able to do your titles here. Let's say I want to do 8 titles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we'll put 8 over here. All right. Now, what could some of our titles be for a book like this? We're talking about the tireless effort of an athlete. Now, for you guys that may be like, what? Like, I'm not an athlete, or maybe you are. Maybe it does appeal to you. But when I talk about athlete, am I being specific to everybody? Could I change this title up to say, let's see, how to not be tired? That would be a cool title, right? How to never be tired. And that's like, it's intriguing, right? If you see a book like that, maybe it's in the same color, as this marker, and you see a book like that on a shelf, you're like, yeah, right, come on. Like, how to never be tired. It draws you in, and you're more inclined to at least pick it up to see, what it's talking about. All right, we'll come back to that. So what are some chapters for me that I would like to put in this book? Like I said, it needs to be a topic that you can relate to. What makes this relatable for me is because I've done very challenging things. I still continue to challenge myself. So I'm, a Marine, a U.S. Marine. I've done challenging physical things there. I've done challenging physical things outside where I knew consciously, where I knew I had to push myself. So in this, I have a lot of experience. Okay, so now these chapters should kind of draw on that experience a bit, and this is going to take some time. So it's not going to be, it's going to be something I'm going to be working on as I'm here with you guys. So, well, I didn't really do anything. Said hi, huh? Oh, that's a whole name. Well, I didn't really do anything. That's funny. Budget Theory Henry, huh? What is it? Budget Theory? Is that a book? All right, so tireless effort of an athlete. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go through my books, my notebooks. Those of you guys who are just joining, I have about 6. These are just 6 notebooks that I write in, and it's not all. It's like notes. It's like notes for myself, notes from courses that I've taken as well, and that's what I'm gonna help me write this book as well. And so if you want to join along, by all means. I know I have something on this topic, most likely. All right, so we're getting there. So let's see. Don't worry, I'm going to read some of this to you guys. All right, so Right now we got our first chapter. We didn't write all 8 just yet. I'm gonna slow down a bit, but our first chapter is called Wake Up Excited. Now, this chapter is going to talk about, it says, when I realized that I had been living in fear and that fear contributes to procrastination, I immediately decided to begin making every decision with purpose. You know, so that's just I guess, an opener that's probably relatable to people who are living in fear, right? So it's very relatable. So if you're, I'm also going to say this because I've done research on the types of books that people tend to like to write, and it seems like people like to write and read fiction, which is no problem. I'm not hating on fiction. I remember reading a book when I was younger. I think it was like the Einstein Diaries or something like that, and it was the best fiction. I mean, it had Einstein in it, but it was a fiction. You know, it had some real characters, but it was a fiction book, and it was so good. I don't know where that book is at all, but you know, so I'm not hating on fiction, but this book is for me. You know, a lot of people like to write and read fiction, which is fine. Not so many people like to write nonfiction, and nonfiction is obviously going to be based on real subjects, real events. You're probably going to have like the person, if it's written by like a person, you know, like myself, for example. I'm talking about something that can contribute in society, or you know, based off of my own personal experience. And that's what this book is about. This is going to be a nonfiction book, just to be clear. But you can do the same thing. Just, you have ideas, you know, you have things that you already kind of are playing with. So begin to write these things out right now. And that's all I'm doing right now. I'm just getting them out of my head. And obviously this is going to be a rough draft, but if you can do 80 pages of a rough draft of your ideas like that, by just getting them out, why not do it? So now, when I realized I had been living in fear and that fear contributes to procrastination, I immediately decided to begin making every decision with purpose. Decisions have time limits, can expire, and other decisions could be done over again, or can they? I like that. Ultimately, we have one shot to show up today, and it speaks to urgency because, you know, whether we like it or not, that's how we're hardwired, and it's for a good reason. Because, you know, all of us can, now I won't say all, I would say a lot of people, you know, when we're making decisions and you're tired or you're feeling lethargic and you don't want to do something, you know, that's it can be based off of fear. There are a lot of emotions that can be in that one single second of time. Like it seems like a really long period of time. Well, we drag it out to be a whole day because whenever you're tired and you feel depressed, or you feel like you can't go on, those feelings are obviously coming from somewhere. They're not, you definitely don't want to neglect those feelings, but there's also a counterbalance. There's also something that you can put in place of those feelings to get up and to begin to move forward. And that's really that's what I'm writing about while I'm presenting the writing to you guys, the methodology of how I'm writing this book out. So when I realized that I had been living in decisions have time limits, can expire, and other decisions could be done over again, or could they? We will discuss time limits in the next chapter with a bit of a twist. Ultimately, we get one shot to show up today. All right, I like that. Now, here goes the fun part, and that's gonna be going through and sifting through my notes, so bear with me. I like that. I immediately like that. That's going in here. All right. So now this next part is just further, I guess, solidifying that urgency, and it's also building, the audience up, which, I mean, that's what we're here for. So that's what I'm here for. So it's here to build you up. So it's pretty much saying, remember, there's a reason large companies love to keep you around. It is because you are valuable. You are valuable. I'm not just talking about the value that only a mother could love, but currency value, meaning money. You and I bring the dollar bills and ideas to the table, and it's time now to take action on you. So you have to, right now where you're at, you have to begin to step out of your comfort zone. And that's a common saying. And how do you do that? Whenever you're frozen, whenever you don't feel like you have the energy. And we're going to go over that in the next chapter. The next chapter is literally going to be talking about your time. So time is going to be we talk about time management, but why is time management so important? It's because it's going to help you to manage your emotions as well. Whenever you're going from, maybe you're just not feeling like doing something to having to actually do the thing, which we know how that feels when you have to go to work. But not talking about work right now. I'm not talking about like the job that you clock into. I'm talking about the literal thing that you're put on this planet to do. You have to make time for that. But how do you do that whenever you have so much that you're trying to do here and there, and you have, it is a lot. But the way that you do that is going to be going into those situations where you don't want to do something and putting a time limit on it and saying, I'm going to do this for 1 minute. Start off with 1 minute of doing a thing that you really don't want to do, and that's going to get the ball rolling. For example, whenever I go running, it takes me about, I'm not lying, about 3 miles to really warm up. And I run for a little bit longer distance, but it takes me about 3 miles just to warm my body up. And I'm just like, why am I here right now? And then I get into the groove and I feel much better. I feel more conditioned. And so I can go into the further miles, and I'm feeling much better. It's odd, it's weird, but that's just how my body works. And I know strongly that this plays into that. That's where I'm looking at it from the standpoint of an athlete. An athlete has to take those days and those moments. It's really a breakdown of moments. It's a breakdown of very small moments too. So I'm talking about minutes to seconds where you have to literally say, you know what, I'm gonna give myself, if I don't wanna do push-ups right now, or you'll see some of my workout videos on my page, like I don't wanna do burpees or whatever, I say, okay, I'm gonna do one right now. And I know I don't really want to do this, but then by doing that one, I'll do 10. All right, cool, got that knocked out. Now I can move on with my day and feel a little bit better about myself. I didn't punk out in that moment where, I would be thinking about that all day, like, dang, I have this reserve of stuff I didn't do that I knew I should have done. So, cool. We have this rough draft. I like this because with this, it's gonna be, get this stuff down on paper, and I'm stressing it. Get it down on paper because you're gonna be able to. It's like I don't know, the Matrix. Whenever they were like looking through all the code, you're gonna be able to pull this stuff apart. This is your life right here. This is whatever you're writing about, even if it's fiction. You're gonna be able to pull it apart and to be able to say, okay, I can expound, I can go further into this sentence right here. This sentence means something to me. I can go further into this. So now we can write more on this. It's called Wake Up Excited. That's the first chapter, Wake Up Excited. All right. Use my notes. Like I said before, if you guys are just joining, I am using my prior notes of just things I suggested. What I don't suggest in doing this right now is using a lot of online resources, if any. I didn't come to this using online resources. Just write, not right now. Don't do that later. For right now, focus on getting your ideas just out on paper and taking as much time and paper as you can to do that. Use prior writings, even the smallest ideas. Make a list of like your top ideas and put those things on paper, and then you can begin to input. Okay, I have this main idea here, and then put like sub ideas on that one main idea, and then that way you can begin to build out. Every book doesn't need to be filled to the brim. Every book doesn't need to be 1,000 pages long. You need to make a book where people understand what you're talking about and it's efficient. Especially for me, I'm writing a self-help book. I want people to actually get help. I don't want to just put a bunch of fluff in the book so that it can, like, I don't know, look good. I was reading a book the other day at I think it was Target, and the book was maybe like this big, and it was a book on leadership, and a really good book. I got like one little bit out of it where I was like, okay, that's a good book, and I would go back and buy that book. I didn't buy it at that moment, but I would go back and buy that book, and so you don't have to have a 1,000-page novel to get your point out. It needs to be clear and concise, and it starts with what we're doing right now. So if you're not, get your book out, write with me. You can do that. So then there's no excuse, right? It's like, well, hey, I'm not doing anything anyway. I'm just watching the guy write, so I might as well write with him. All right. Ooh. See, this is why you go through your notes, man. Oh, this is going in there. right. Of course, how do you take that very first step? Yeah, so we are still writing. Somebody asked here in the comments, how do you take that very first step? And like I said a couple of times, is how for me is wake up. And I say wake up. I'm gonna start from the top of the day, or wherever you are at in your day. Look at your choice, and whenever you're talking about writing specifically, because I think that there's a lot of overlap, but whenever we're talking about writing and getting started, start with an idea. Start with something that is close to you, that you have some I would say some or a lot of familiarity with, and just start there. It could be just you have. I've heard people say that they aren't creative, but that's not true. Use whatever resource you have, and that being said is you have a job. I don't care if you're mopping floors. Guess what? You know how to clean. You know how to do a skill. You have to use what you have, and it's really all of your resources. You see me right now. I'm not writing this stuff with a laptop or writing it with a bunch of whatever research, in the sense of going online and going on different websites. You have the experience, so you have to believe that you do, and you have to just put it down on paper and worry about figuring out all the minute stuff later. Minute meaning like small, like, oh well, I'm not sure if this title is going to be catchy enough. Well, who cares? Like, figure that out after you write the rough draft of your title. Figure out the chapters. So we still need to finish our chapters. I'm going to do the next chapters after I work on this one that I'm doing right now. I'm going to begin to pour in the next chapters, because we're going to do 8 chapters right now. So, yep. All right, so I'm going to continue on with this. We got some good stuff. And then there is integrity right now. We're going to put a drop quote in here. Drop quote is where you have like kind of a quote within your writing, and it's like a big it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pull out a quote from my right. No, I don't want to do that. I think I'm just gonna put a regular quote in the writing from me. So yeah. Oh wow, been on here for 44 minutes already. Goodness. So we're gonna just keep going. All right, so you may ask, but how do I get excited? By having a big vision. So I'm doing this a little bit different whenever I'm talking about my chapters. I've written the title and chapters for this before, and that time I did it where I just straight up wrote the title of the book and then I wrote the chapters. This way that I'm doing it right now, I'm writing the chapters as I'm writing the book, which is cool because I'm getting ideas as I'm writing that I feel they really pop. They pop keywords wise. You know, they pop, and I believe that it's gonna resonate with people and it's gonna help people. And so yeah, I just got my 3rd chapter out of 8. So we're gonna keep writing. We're on our 1st chapter. We're still writing the 1st chapter, which is cool. So awesome. All right, and this next page I'm gonna be doing front and back because when we type this out, ooh, this pen is bleeding through a lot. This is an 80 pager right here, roughly. We'll see. We're gonna see about that. We're gonna end up typing all of this out anyway, so it's fine. We're gonna type it out, and like I said before, every single paragraph in here is filled with sentences, right? So you're gonna be able to pull out key points from each paragraph. You're gonna be able to pull out key points and say, hey, I need to go in on this. That's whenever you bring in your research and you say, okay, I can pull out my laptop and, you know, go through and do some more research on this topic. You know, you're not coming as the just know-it-all on everything. You're coming with the subject matter expert on what it is you know. And there's gonna be things that you're gonna have to research and put into your book. That's just how books are written. So, but this way is effective because whenever we type everything out, then we're gonna be able to expound on some of these topics. So like I said, we're not building a book so that it can just have a lot of pages. We're building a book that it's going to help people, one, because it's a self-help book, and be efficient. It's like, boom, we need action steps, right? So if I write a self-help book, how can I write action steps? You can take action today, right now, this very moment. You know, this book is called Tireless Efforts of an Athlete, okay? So guess what? Tireless efforts of an athlete, you're gonna be able to begin to have more energy in your day. You're gonna immediately, after reading this book, it's just how it's built. It's built for action. It's not built for, oh, well, I'm gonna put this on the side because I can't really do that. No, take it and you know, read it. And that's what makes it even better because you make it a pocket guide, make a pocket guide style book that can help people throughout their day. That's very easy to read and very top of mind. So yeah. All right. just fusing these kind of these paragraphs, making sure that they make a little bit of sense as I'm writing. You may ask, but how do I get excited by having a big vision, so big that, as Bible says, those who read it may run. Now that must be a pretty amazing vision. A lot of times we look at our vision and compare it to other people's vision. Our brains want us to do, but we have to completely go the opposite way from what the herd of people are doing. It is the only way to create massive change. And what? Let's see, as long as he can always look at our opportunities and plan on how much they got one person. That's good. Let me see. That's pretty interesting. This is so cool. Just the ability to use my notes that I've written. Just this stuff is probably just, I mean, minus maybe one or two are notes from some years ago, but most of this stuff is just from this year. Um, but I want to talk about this real quick because I'm just thinking about how you generate power, how humans generate power, and the ability to just be efficient throughout your day. And I think that efficiency when we're talking about time management is so cool because you block off your time. You say, hey, this hour, I know, maybe it's after school if you have kids. You say, I know I need to spend time with my kids for, a block of time. I'm going to say an hour, but I'm going to spend this block of time with my kids. And it doesn't have to be an hour. I'm just giving this example. I'm going to spend this block of time, and you are able to you're able to increase your efficiency. So within that block of time, let's say you're being intentional, you put your phone down, you're interacting intentionally with them, and that's their block of time. And so it makes it where, a little less weight and a little less brain fog when it comes to even hanging out with other people outside of your immediate family. You're saying, hey, I'm gonna block off this time for you because I value our relationship and I want our relationship to continue to get better. I don't want it to stay the same. Our relationship should not just stay the same. It should be continuously growing. So, and how that's done is even beyond me, because I'm just a man. God our Father, my Father, He's the one who provides all of the added energy. I was doing a class on energy the other day and talking about how electricity works and like reserve power and how that stuff works. And it's interesting because that's how our relationship with God is. It's like that reserve power that's whenever your energy gets low and you're like, where I can't do this anymore, like I'm just toast. It's like, God is always there. That's how those systems work. He's always there. And whenever you're at your most just crazy place, God, it's like who is always there. It's like it just gets enhanced. It's weird because God is always going to be there, but it's just like it's just poof. And you're like, oh, second wind. Whoa, we're like, I never even considered. You think, but it's amazing. So yeah, hope one person gets something out of that. All right, so let's keep going. I'm gonna use that power factor. All right, so far we've gone through one notebook. I'm gonna continue to go through this other one real quick. We got some stuff in here. I got topics in here for other YouTube videos, but who's to say that can't go into a book. You can use any title you want for your book. It's your book, and as long as it's sticking with trying to help people. So it's gonna be harder than complex. Work hard to get your thinking clean to. Wow. I got a really good quote here from Steve Jobs. This is really good. It says, simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking clean to make it simple, but it's worth it in the end because once you get there, you can move mountains. That's huge. That's pretty awesome. I may use that one for the book. Let's see here. Like, remember, it's all got to kind of meld together at the end of all this book. So, dang, man, we got some pages here, dude. That's what I'm talking about. What? We got some pages. All right, so that quote was good. How can we put that in here? We don't have to put it in right now, but that's got to go in here. This chapter. I think I'm going to use that quote for the next chapter. I'm gonna change that. Right. These are some good notes. This all can be used. It can be, so, you know, the term for would be repurposing content. So you have tons of content, probably that, you know, and I mean tons of content, stuff that you've written, notes, things like that, that you can put back into the book to make it something, to make it, you know, formulate into your ideas, make your ideas make sense. So we get excited. What's going on? Hello, hello. How good is the technology? So we're talking about writing, or we're actually writing a book. So if you, I know it's like one of you, but if you got some input, please by all means share your input. So this is going pretty good. I'm gonna talk about how it's going. Right now, I'm actually creating action steps for creating a more productive moment. So as I'm writing it, it's so cool. So that's what I'm doing right now, and I just wanted to chime in and check in. But obviously, there's nobody here. But guess what? It's gonna be replayed anyway, and people are gonna watch it. And I would suggest they skip the freaking me not talking parts and get to the meat and potatoes, because this is gonna be a little bit. Yeah, you want to come to this type of thing with some energy about you, with some purpose, and I would say just a purpose of writing, getting out your ideas, getting your ideas out of your head. That's the only purpose. It don't have to be deep. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It's just getting the ideas out of your head is number one. So don't think that, whatever. Don't psych yourself out. Don't psych yourself out. So now, like this whole bottom section that I've written right now is it's gonna be broken apart, because I can do that right now. I already see how I'm gonna do it. And this part is the action steps. So no phone time frame. Immediately after waking up, no phone. Okay, so we need to go a little bit further into detail about something. You see, I've already written about a paragraph, and that's just pulling out from this prior page. So we're just going a little bit deeper on this bottom part right here. And so this is why, I mean, it's so cool because you when you create this outline, and what I said whenever I first started this is you create your title, you create your chapters as well, and as you're writing, you're gonna be able to gain ideas, and you're gonna be like, this title could be how the title can be different. It's not just saying, well, let me spend an hour on the title. That's where everybody and their mother gets hung up on is the title. You're gonna spend an hour, days, weeks on just a title. Don't even, that's not even considering the chapters that you have to push out. So the best method is going to be to get your rough draft of your title out, push it out on paper, on a board. It's there. It's not static. It's gonna change. It may change. You may change one letter in your entire title. Instead of making it plural, you may make it singular. So that's okay. But get it out there so that you can follow this process. It's a simple process, guys. All we're doing is we're getting a rough draft title, we're getting some rough draft chapters, and then we're using information from that we already have. We're using our own information. Like I said before, we're using our own information, and we're also thinking. It's called critical thinking. So we're thinking through our own process that we're currently in. How can we accomplish this task, efficiently, in a way also that helps others. So that's what we're doing right now. And there's something else I was gonna say. I can't think of it right now. All right. So this task that have the potential to produce income. The first task on the list is wake up and do doing push-ups. Yeah, I like this. I like this. We are pulling this thing apart, and we're making it make sense. We're pulling this topic apart, and we're actually making it make sense. It's easy to understand. Um, all right. So. We are working our way through this, and this is our first chapter, man. I'm happy. I'm happy with this. I'm gonna be getting off right now. I hope that you guys got something from this. Please like and subscribe. This is gonna be on live. I mean, this is live right now, but it's gonna be replayed. You'll be able to catch it on YouTube. That's gonna be my main channel, only channel that this video is gonna be on right now. And just, you know, take a little nugget out of this here video. It's 125 minutes long, and I, for that time period, got stuff done. I wrote 1 chapter out of 8. That means, what does that mean? Coming back here and doing this over and over again so that we can complete our task. And right now in this book, it's talking about task. It's talking about how to stay on task and how to get things done in blocks of time, like how that actually works. So I'm excited, and I hope you guys like and subscribe. Peace. I'm gonna sign out of here. Oh yeah, bye.